Beth, tag, you're it. Behave yourself. There you go. You've been warned. Okay.
Ready for the feed?
We're ready for the feed. Let's do this.
Have a great show.
Thank you, Jordan. Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a
Ananta,
lively hour
dance.
of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, aka Radio Red, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka Radio Red.
Thank you, Mr. Intro Voice, aka Radio Red in the house. Happy to be here. I can't believe it's the last Monday of April. Where has the year gone? We have lived through such a couple of years, and the world is in chaos, and we're here to have a good time talking about creativity. I've got three wonderful people. They're ladies. They are smart. They are savvy. They are gorgeous. They're going to talk about their creativity with me. I'm so happy to have them here. And I met them all recently on the National Publicity Summit, which I've been attending for about 150 years. I know I don't look it, but we're doing it virtually now. And I'm happy to have them all. Kenya, you need to smile. There we go. Everybody wave hello to LinkedIn and wave hello to Facebook and wave hello to YouTube and virtually wave hello to the Voice America Empowerment Channel and wave hello to my wonderful engineer, Jordan Henson, who just did our sound checks. There we go. Ladies, before we do full introductions, and I have a special poem I'm going to read for you, I want you to put your hands up in the shape of the letter L, okay? In the shape of the letter L. Oh, oh, you already passed the test. You can stay. Here we go. On the count of three, you're going to join me and say, hello, LLL. Just that speed. 1, 2, 3. Hello,
Hello, L,
L, L,
L, L.
L. Jordan, we have a winner. This is the number one most in sync panel I have had all year. Jordan, could you mark that we're not that anybody isn't as good as anybody else, but some days it's hello, 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 hello. I've never heard it in sync like. Did the three of you get together and rehearse this? I can't believe it. Wow, that was really something. I can tell Jordan on the other side of the mic, he's saying, I can't believe it either. Thank you, Jordan. Ladies, in case you're wondering, LLL is lovely, lanky Laura Legs, our most loyal listener. She's been listening to the show for years and years and years. And at 6:01 p.m. Eastern tonight, she will send me a report on what Beth said and what Ananta said, on what Kenya said. It'll be a little short report, and she'll tell me the best of what she got from how you shared your creativity. She is living in a place called Whitestone, New York. I used to live in Great Neck, and I met her at dance studio dance class years and years and years ago. And I wanted to move her to a place that starts with L. Beth, I looked at Louisville, and I looked at Luxembourg, and I looked at London, and we couldn't figure out because we didn't have the budget. Well, I moved to a place in Tennessee that starts with L. I accidentally moved here. I hope nobody listening locally is offended, but I want to move to London, Kenya. And I have this bad habit of tilting my head. And when I looked at London, the first N tilted upside down, and I moved to Loudon, Tennessee, and that's where I am. So I thought I could help to get Laura moved to Loudon, but she hasn't agreed yet, because then it would be lovely, lanky Laura Legs from Loudon. Wouldn't that be nice? Okay, so there, I'm babbling on. Ladies, I'm delighted to have you here. It is the 29th of May, of April. I'm running ahead already. It's the 120th day of 2024 in the Gregorian calendar. It used to be a different calendar, the Julian, and Gregory, I think before he became the Pope, didn't like the calendar because there were funny leap years. Kenya and Beth and Ananta, you would be upset if you had a birthday in the first week of October because October 3rd was next to October 15th on the calendar. There was nothing in between. You wouldn't have been able to celebrate your birthday. So Grego, I don't know what his mommy called him before he got to be Pope. He said, I'm going to change the calendar. So he moved the extra days around. And that's why we have the Gregorian calendar. It's the 18th Monday of the year, and nobody cares about that except me. So I want to tell you that I've written a little poem. Full disclosure, I used ChatGPT and I put in the full bio each of you sent me, your full bio, and a little open or a little close. And I asked ChatGPT to write a poem. And then I'm still the human here. Don't forget, this isn't pure AI. I went and edited the poem, changed a couple things around. So let's see if you like what I wrote about each of you with ChatGPT. And I want you to wave furiously when I call your name. So bear with me here. Upon the Read My Lips stage, where creativity thrives and sparks ignite, Radio Red on her Scarlett mic in the live streaming light welcomes 4 creatives with inspiration galore to fill our virtual diaries with their stories and more. Upon the Read My Lips stage, here we are. Today we delve into the wisdom of creativity, a journey profound, with 3 guests whose stories and insights will astound. Ladies, you've been put on notice. Beth Thorp. Wave hello, Beth. A beacon of light. Through trials she's been led, from fashion's glitz to philanthropy's spread. Her son's illness sparked a tale to share. Now she pens her book's screenplay with special flair. I hope you like that, Beth.
I do.
Good. I rent these poems out. We'll negotiate later. Ananta Ripa Ajmera is with us, steeped in ancient lore. From Ayurveda's depths, she finds wisdom's core. Through yoga and dance, she channels divine. Her creativity blooms in every plant-based line. And she'll tell us more. Ananta, I hope you enjoyed that. Yes? Good. Woman, a few words. We'll have to get her to talk. Kenya Lee is with us, a warrior of women's empowerment, from Detroit streets to mental health's ascent. Her journey transformed into tools to mend, guiding women through struggles. Her strength, she is there to lend. Kenya, I hope you like that. She liked that. Good. So tune in, watch or listen, and let your spirits soar as we fill the wisdom of creativity with cool conversations and much more. Ladies, what'd you think? Pretty cool?
I loved it. It's awesome. Great job.
Okay, now here's the quiz. How long? Put up the number of fingers in terms of how many minutes you think it took for ChatGPT to take your full bios and give me back this poem. How many minutes? Put up your fingers, the number of minutes. 1, 2, 3, go ahead. Show me how many minutes it took. Okay, Kenya? Oh, 0. Okay, now that was a trick. Now go down to how many seconds it took ChatGPT to respond. Put up the number of fingers. We got a 3, we got an 8, we got a 2. Okay. Ananta, you're out of the running. I'm sorry, dear. Beth is close. Kenya's a little bit over. It's actually about 2.5 seconds that it took for it to reply. So there you go. So thank you. I guess some of you knew because you probably have used it. So let's go around the table. It's time to find out who you really are. I just gave a little teeny tiny bio in my poem, and we really want to know more. Beth Thorp, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm putting you on speaker view with your gorgeous red something. I think you wore that in honor of me and the red lipstick. I'm so excited. Beth, I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please regale us with your bio? Tell us a little bit about what you do, what you write, your story, and a little bit about your creativity, because we're going to dive into that a little more later. Beth, welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Delighted to be here. A little bit about myself. For my bio, I used to be in a totally different industry, in the fashion industry, for many years. I had my own business called Powerful Impressions. And my life took basically a trajectory, 365-degree turn, when my oldest son became ill, and took him around the United States for 5 years, in and out of different hospitals looking for answers, to which ultimately we found none. Symptoms came on at 13, he passed at 18, and that just totally destroyed me and my marriage and all. But luckily we all came back together, so that's a good thing. For me, God spoke to my spirit and said, this is not the end, this is the beginning. I didn't know what he meant by that, but here I am 15 years later. We started a foundation in his memory and his legacy to carry on, to help other families whose children suffer life-threatening illnesses, diseases, and disorders. So here we are 15 years later, helped thousands of families and children, given back over 4 million into the community, helping other families and children kind of going through what we went through, to let them know they're not alone. We help them through our various programs, which we can talk about later, but basically being a light in the dark for others, because there was nothing like this when we were going through it. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm a philanthropist, and I work with a lot of families and children.
And I want to know just a tiny bit about your taking your book. First of all, what is it called? And second of all, screenplay time. Screenplay. Well, come on, give us another minute. Go ahead.
I know. Well, here we go. Here's the book. It's titled A New Creation, Finding Meaning in the Midst of Tragedy. That's my boy actually playing baseball. His father was an ex-pro player with the Dodger organization, so he coached a lot of baseball. And it's really my memoir, our journey of how we took this tragedy and took it into triumph to help other families. It's a faith-based inspirational story which I now got done writing this last 6 months with 2 film producers on Zoom calls just like this, creatively working together and taking this 5-hour read down into a 90-minute story, into a screenplay, which they originally coached me to help write the screenplay. And in my mind, I thought I was going to hire someone to write this screenplay. I didn't think I could do it. But they're like, Miss Beth, who can write the story better than you? So they actually coached me, and it was really a stretch. I've never been stretched this far in my life. Writing a book is one thing. Screenplay is totally different type of writing.
Thank you, Beth. I wanted to make sure we got that in at the beginning because it's so important. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Let's go to Ananta. I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please regale us, tell us who you are, what do you do, what is Ayurveda, and all the wonderful things you do? Beth, welcome. Beth, thank you. Ananta, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so fun to be here. Ayurveda is the world's oldest system of health and healing. It is the science of how to live a healthy and happy and creative and inspired lifestyle. I am really grateful to have learned this when I was coming out of years of eating disorders and trying to overcome a lot of trauma that I went through in childhood. And it really gave me a new start to life. It was like a second birth that I feel I got once I started to learn this ancient science. And that led me to be requested to write my first book called The Ayurveda Way, about how to sleep better, have less stress, better digestion, and more. And then that led to moving to New York to serve as advisor of Ayurveda at The Well, and then embark on the journey of creating my second book, which involved not only writing, but also discovering a new creative passion of cooking Ayurveda food so that we could have healthier versions of favorite foods like pizzas, pastas, and more. And I found myself really spending a lot of time enjoying not only cooking new recipes, but photographing them and bringing them to life for people in a way that would inspire health and well-being, and having a new kind of fun during the pandemic in a very small cockroach-infested apartment in New York City. After that book kind of came out.
New York apologizes. I'm a New Yorker. Will apologize. Go ahead, Ananta, finish.
Yeah, so well, before I left New York, I did publish a podcast, which I converted into an ode to cockroaches and how to look at all the creatures and people who come into your life as messengers of something from beyond. And then with that, I moved on to Florida, where I now see lizards every day, and they speak to me about the importance of sunshine, gratitude, and the power of transformation. So I've learned to look at everything in life symbolically, and that is really related to being the hero of your own journey. And that's the subject of my second book, which is The Way of the Goddess, which has daily rituals for creativity. Actually, that's the second step of this hero's journey. And also there's 8 more steps in it to awaken your inner warrior and discover your true self. And I teach people how to do this step by step through a spiritual warrior program, through a new conscious conversations community, and other opportunities to not just read about wisdom, but to really live it and practice it.
I want you to send me a copy of your book if you have a PDF. I would love to read it. I didn't know when I met you at the summit that you were a comedian too. Honestly, no. I had no idea you were so funny. I used to do stand-up. Now I just try to be funny sitting down. That's about the best I can do. Ananta, thank you and welcome. Lovely, absolutely lovely. And just to our viewers and listeners, so you know, when I met these 3 beautiful, gorgeous, smart ladies, and Kenya Lee is next, I get 2 minutes on the clock to have them pitch me, for me to say, you want to be on my show, for them to give me at speed talking their phone number and their email, and I write it down in a document, and then their video is taken off, and then the next person comes into my view. So I met them in basically 2 minutes flat, and now I'm getting to really know them. So thank you, Ananta. Kenya Lee, so delighted to have you here. I'm putting you on speaker view. Would you please tell us who you are and what's your creativity? Welcome.
Thank you, Radio Red. Thank you for having me. So my name is Kenya Lee. I'm an author, a women's empowerment coach, and I'm a nurse of over 24 years. in the nursing community. And for me, creativity is at the soul of everything we do. And just to give you a little bit about me, when I wrote my book, I wrote it during times where I was creating to try to heal. And when I mean when I say heal, I was actually drawing and writing and getting out everything that I had within that was tormenting me. And fast forward 10 years later, I came up with the concepts, three pivotal things that we can do on a daily basis to come into self-awareness and maintain it. And it's called the Trinity strategy. I paired that healing strategy along with all of the trauma that I had expelled onto paper. And that is how the self-help book was born. And my book is called The Path to Emotional Greatness, Yielding to Personal Transformation. The book has helped many women to come into who they are and to be empowered to know that we can do anything, Radio Red, that we want to do. We know that. So that's me in a nutshell.
I want to do this. I didn't have the name of your book in your bio, so I'm happy. Do you have it behind you? Can you hold it up for us? Can you? Come
Yeah.
on, let's see this. Let's see this.
So
The path, go ahead. The path to emotional greatness, yielding to personal transformation. The path to Egypt. That I had. Beautiful. I'm going to do the symbol I just did. Watch this, everybody. It should work. There we go. Did you know that Mac OS added these, all different kinds of things you can do? There we go. Now we've got fireworks and we've got bubbles and we've got sunshine. Now we've got confetti. There you go. That's in honor. Oh, Ananta just did it too. That's in honor of the three of you. I am so delighted. I'm just going to say the word to meet you because I really didn't before. And when I invited you on the show, I just had a glimmer that each of you were very special and that you would have something to say. This is not a message show. We don't talk about things out of context. It's not a trauma show. It's not a faith-based show. We talk about creativity, and we're all creating our life. And people say, oh, I'm not creative. I don't sing. I don't dance. I don't do art. I say, well, don't you answer the phone the way you do that represents you? Don't you dress the way you do? Don't you eat the way? Don't you decorate your home? Well, you're creating your life, right? It's all in improv. I studied improv as well as comedy years ago. I was pretty funny. As I say, now I'm just trying to be cute sitting down. Okay, ladies, I am so appreciative of the three of you. And now it's time on the show. I've asked each of you to send me a quote from a fictional movie or TV character or a song lyric that you're going to relate in your own words to your creativity. Okay, so let's start out with Beth Thorp. And Beth has sent 4 words, the title of a song performed by Dorothy Gale, played by the wonderful Judy Garland. The movie, of course, nobody here was born then. 1939 musical fantasy film, The Wizard of Oz. It's a ballad written by Howard Arlen with lyrics by Yip Harburg. It was written for the film The Wizard of Oz. It won the Oscar Academy Award, to be formal, for Best Original Song and became Judy Garland's signature song. Let me just read a little bit here, Beth, about background. 5 minutes into the film, Dorothy sings a song after failing to get her Aunt Em, her Uncle Henry, and the farmhands to listen to her story of an unpleasant incident involving her dog Toto and the town spinster, Miss Gulch, played by Margaret Hamilton. Aunt Em tells her to find yourself a place where you won't get into any trouble. She walks off by herself, says to Toto, somewhere where there isn't any trouble. Do you suppose there is such a place, Toto? There must be. It's not a place you can get to by a boat or a train. It's far, far away, beyond the moon, beyond the rain. At which point I'm getting chills here. At which point she begins to sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Oh, Beth, I love doing my research, and I had never read this before, so I'm glad I found it. I hope it made you happy. Beth, go ahead. Spend a couple minutes telling us about what this means to you. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. When you first asked us to do that, I immediately thought of this because Somewhere Over the Rainbow is, well, first of all, I used to sing it to my children when they were little. And for me, it's a song that has such magical qualities to its lyrics, and it just speaks of places where dreams really do come true and where troubles melt like lemon drops, right? And that's kind of gives me that feeling that the sky is blue and that the the worries of your day can just melt, and it just evokes a sense of wonder for me and possibility. And it really does transport, I think, listeners as well as for myself. It does. It just transforms me to a realm of boundless imagination, and it encourages me on a personal level to dream bigger. I don't know if it does that for anyone else, but it just takes me to a place where somewhere over that rainbow I haven't seen yet, right? And it's taking that leap. It's that faith journey for me to take the leap when things are scary and when you don't want to go there. But you have to take the leap of faith in my world to make it happen. And so I just believe that's where the power of hope is. And it just helps me to pursue my creativity endeavors of passion and determination to see it through. And that's kind of comes from within each person. And so when I think of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that's what it does for me. It just personally takes me to a place of boundless imagination.
Thank
And
you.
possibilities.
And so
And the
refreshing.
power. And yeah, and
I
the
was going to
last
say,
thing I want
so
to
refreshing that, just give me a second here. So refreshing that you brought that, because I have a lot of guests who quote Judy Garland in The Wizard of Oz on all my radio shows. But the one they pick, Beth, is I've a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Nobody that I can remember in years has quoted the song. Beth, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I had to get that in. Go ahead, finish what
I
you're
love
saying,
that.
please.
I just wanted to say one last thing too. It also, for me, it gives me the power to believe in the power of hope. I think there's a hope message in that song as well.
Yes.
When she sings it. So I just think it moves me. And that's why I used to sing it to my children before they'd go to bed. It's just a song that just kind of evoked that when you wanted me to pick something, that to me was it.
Thank you. Somewhere
over the rainbow,
way
way
up
high. Yeah.
there's a land that I dream of. Once
You sing better than me.
lullaby. This is the best I've ever. I try not to ruin the show. I make a promise usually to myself not to sing. That came out pretty good. The mic must be in tune today. No auto tune, ladies. No auto tune. Thank you, Ananta. Let's go to your quote. This is from a brand new person I've never heard of. The song is Trust Flow by Sahara Rose, featuring Willie Noir, who's a rapper. Sahara Rose is the best-selling author of Eat, Feel Fresh, The Idiot's Guide to Ayurveda, A Yogic Path, and the upcoming Discover Your Dharma. She's been called a leading voice for the millennial generation into a new paradigm shift over the rainbow by Deepak Chopra. She hosts the Highest Self podcast, the #1 spirituality podcast on iTunes. There we go. Here's the quote Ananta has selected. Trust, flow, surrender, let go. I'm the one I've been waiting for. Oh, I got chills with that. Ananta, how'd you find that beautiful line? Tell us.
Yeah, so I've enjoyed following Sahara Rose on Instagram. A lot of people would ask me if I know about her because we're both millennials who got really inspired by Ayurveda on our respective journeys. And I trust one day I will connect with her. But I just have loved watching her come into her journey as a creative artist recently after going through her own heartbreak. And it just really inspired me to look within when everything looks dark outside, that there is a light within, and that ultimately is where we find our deepest guidance in life. I feel like I have gone through many dark nights of the soul as I've churned through my creative process. And I feel like that's what gave birth to the creative process. And it was not so much looking outside, but learning to trust and really surrender to that voice that comes from deep within, to be able to know that anything that is coming into my life can be my teacher, and that the guru ultimately lives within. I think for such a long time, I had given away my power to so many outside authorities, whether that be, in childhood, to teachers, to parents, to elders in the family, in the community. And after so long of doing that, it just felt really like time to reclaim that power for myself, to really trust in myself, that I have the wisdom within myself to be able to guide myself back home. And that really, I think sparks the creative process, because it does take that willingness to trust and also to not hold on to things so tightly, but just to allow it to flow through us and to be channeled through us as an instrument, so that it's not us who is creating, but it's actually a higher power that is coming through us.
That was beautiful. Just beautiful. Thank you. I feel inspired. I feel elevated. I do want your book. I'm ready. I'm ready. And I love the way you say everything that comes into our life, there's a lesson, something it can share with us or tell us or teach us. I'm ready. I am ready. We'll talk after the show. Thank you. Kenya Lee, I'm looking at your quote, another 4-word quote. The little ones are very powerful. Yours was powerful too, Ananta, but this one is wonderful. It's spoken words in the movie Pretty Woman, 1990 romantic comedy film spoken by Vivian Ward, played by the phenomenal Julia Roberts. The movie was directed by Gary Marshall. Gary Marshall had 2 R's in his first name. I didn't realize that. It stars Richard Gere, Julia Roberts, with a whole bunch of other people. The story was Hollywood escort Vivian Ward is hired by wealthy businessman Edward Lewis as an escort for business and social functions. Their relationship develops during the week-long stay with him. And interestingly enough, the title of the film, Pretty Woman, is based on the 1964 song Oh, Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. The original screenplay, here's a screenplay note for you, Beth Thorp, was titled 3000. It was written by screenwriter J.F. Lawton, who was struggling at the time. It was supposed to be a dark cautionary tale about class and sex work in L.A., but they reconceived it as a romantic comedy with a larger budget. It sold the most ticket sales in the U.S. ever for a romantic comedy. It was the 4th highest grossing film of all time worldwide, behind E.T., behind Star Wars, and behind Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And the beautiful line, Kenya, I don't know if you knew all this. See, you come on my show, you learn stuff. Oh, I love researching the quotes. I have a blast with these. So here is the quote. I have never heard this one before. Kenya, can't wait to hear you explain it. But I'm here now. Oh, Kenya, tell us, what does this mean for you and your creativity? Go ahead.
Oh my goodness, Radio Red, but I'm here now. In other words, you got to be present. It doesn't matter about in the movie, by the way, Richard Gere is telling her about this arrangement that they're having, and he's saying, Vivian, I'm going to let you go in X amount of days, and I'm going to pay you X amount of money. And in her head, she's saying, but I'm here now. And that's what matters. That's what counts. And so for me, sometimes we have to embrace, well, all the time, we have to embrace where we're at, and even if things aren't going the way we would like to see them go, we have to stay in that moment and understand where we're at and create what it is that we want to see. And so it was just so phenomenal. Like, I know I'm dating myself, like that is my most favorite movie in the world. I love Pretty Woman because it's a modern day fairy tale. And it shows that no matter where you're from and who you are a person, that a being of love. And that's ultimately what happened. 2 classes got together and they loved each other. So yeah, I'm here now means exactly that. Stay in the moment, stay moving, stay doing what you can do, and understand the gift that we have with being present.
Thank you. That was lovely too. I can see walking into a room and people say, what are you doing here? What are your opinion? Why should we listen to you? I'm here now.
Here now.
What a statement. I'm here now. And Ananta, you could have said that to the cockroaches. I'm here now. Be on notice. I'm here now. I'm not making fun of this. Kenya, it was lovely. Absolutely lovely. Thank you. Ladies, thank you so much for doing the work and finding these wonderful lyrics and quotes from movies. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed that segment. Let's move on. You've each sent me 4 statements on your creativity. I'm going to pick one. It's not a pop quiz. I will read it. I'm not going to say, Beth, what'd you say in statement number 4? Say, where's my notes? No, I will read a little bit. Take 3 minutes. We're right on time. We're doing very, very well. I'm going to read a little bit. Beth, I've picked your statement number 2, and I'm going to read just a little bit. Take 3 minutes tops to just expand this for us. So Beth says, I've always been a creative and visual person from the days of being a fashion stylist and running my own image and consulting business for 25 years to now as co-founder and executive director of the Mitchell Thorp Foundation. Go ahead. Beth, creative journey. Tell us just a little bit more, please.
Wow. Well, when I think about that, like I said, I see things visually. I've always seen things beautiful and what things that I can transform from one thing to another, especially when it came to women's and men's style. I used to do that. I used to be a stylist for many years and did that. And then from being my life transformed, I used a lot of that as to help women and men feel that confidence from within and where their beauty really comes from. And I just help them to enhance it. So that's where all that came from 25 years. And it's still in me. I mean, you can't let it go. But my life was, like I said, totally transformed. God had a different plan for me, obviously. He chose me and my husband to do something totally different, and it transformed us. When something traumatic happens in someone's life, so traumatizing that it does create a shift in you. And in my life, I felt like I didn't want to do anything else on the planet unless it had eternal significance. And I woke up with that transformation. And it was, my husband looked at me and said, it's funny you said that. I feel the same way. And it was literally that same week that I felt and heard the voice of the Lord speak to my spirit saying, this is not the end. This is the beginning. And I sat up, I was curled up in a ball in the deepest pain and grief you could ever imagine as a mother losing their son or any child. You just don't want to be on the planet anymore. And that's where I was. And that was not a good place for me to be. So in my book, I talk about a chapter about how to become an overcomer and how to get up from the deepest pits of grief and how to move forward and not be stuck in a place where you can't move forward, because many people do get stuck. And I've spoken to many people about this as well. Many families divorce, husbands and wives divorce after they lose a child. Yep. They can't seem to move forward, or it's the blame game. And so there was a lot of transformation that took place during that time. So I just was obedient and creative with my husband, understanding, well, he wanted to start a foundation. And I was like, well, wait a minute. We've never started a foundation. How does this, wait a minute, time out, right? So you're like, okay, so, but then we had to really sit back and listen to that inner voice of, oh, is this what you mean by this is not the end, this is the beginning? And now I have to fast forward for the audience. Here we are 15 years later. And granted, this was one child at a time when we first started the foundation, 2 boys who had cancer, and helping these families navigate it and how to get through it. And now we're here thousands of children later and just helping these families navigate the healthcare maze, how to navigate, how to balance their life through chaos and adversity, how to take care of themselves, like you said, health-wise, just walking into their lives, because the fear is just unbelievable for these families. And I try to let them know they're not alone, that this is just a season in their life, that soon you will turn that chapter. And so when I got to step into that room, in those hospital rooms with those children, I do exactly that. I'll sit on the bedside with them, look into the family's eyes and look into that child's eyes. When one child says, I really want to go to college, and she had bone cancer and her leg was amputated and she felt her life was at end. So anyway, to make a long story short, I speak life into them, that this is not the end, that they have a life and they can choose to move forward. Anyway, she has gone on to college, and her mother recently told me that, oh, she's the president of her sorority. I said, well, of course she is. She's so anyway, so there are lots of ways of how creatively I've moved in from one career into another, but now I give it more on an eternal significant, working in families and people's lives and being the light of hope that they're seeking in the darkness that they're walking through.
Thank you, Beth. I have a very silly question. I'm going to lighten this up. I'm going to bring it up a couple notches. Don't be mad at me. No. You were a visual image consultant. Do you ever watch the awards shows, I don't care which show it is, and say, oh my God, how did she ever pick that dress? Look at that color. Look at that lipstick. Look at that hair. Do you ever look at these men in their tuxedos and say, where did he get the thought that he could wear that cummerbund or that color shirt? Is your visual image professions still, because I do that and I'm not a vision image consultant. I'm like, what? They're all in green? Are you kidding me? Just quickly, Beth, do you ever have those thoughts when you look from those eyes from your past?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. I always watch the red carpets and
Yes.
but times have changed in terms of style and it is just, blossomed for men in terms of what they can wear. I embrace that the men are wearing color. That's okay. Color is bright and a lot of them choose it. And men are adapting style into their life very creatively and in a lot of different fashion statements through color, through their shoes, or whatever
Yep.
makes that statement for them, and for women as well. The latest one is the no pant look. It looks like they're wearing underwear with a blazer, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Well, if you have legs made that are gorgeous, that's fine, but it's not a style for everyone, and so that's the problem. You get out there and you see some
Thank
of
you.
the
Yes.
trends. It's just
Yes. Thank you.
it's
I was
fun.
noticing a lot of chartreuse dresses on a red carpet a couple nights ago, and I thought, what? I don't know who can wear that color. Anyway, thank you very much. Ananta, let's go to your statement number 2. I want you to tell us a little bit more. You say, I am creative with food, words, colors, my body, and my mind in terms of creating new affirmative thoughts to replace destructive old ones. Let's talk about food, words, and colors. I want to know, what are your favorite recipes? Tell us.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, gosh, my favorite recipes, it's so hard to pick a favorite, but I would say I really love my Ayurvedic Alfredo and making Ayurvedic margarita pizzas because there's a lot of simplicity, actually, surprising amount of simplicity in the Alfredo and a surprising amount of coordination required for the pizza. But they're a lot of fun and they often include the color red too. So they're really a good time. And I never ever thought I would be creating with food in this particular way. But I think for me, the colors relate to the chakras very much because in my book, The Way of the Goddess, it leads you on a 9-step spiritual hero's journey where you get to know different incarnations of the warrior mother goddess Durga. And along the way, you get to discover these hidden superpowers that are dormant within each of your 9 chakras. So when we go through them, each of these chakras is associated with a color. The color red is actually the very first chakra, which represents the power of stability. And so the fact that you wear red, it's very symbolic, and you are red. So red is very much about the fire element, right? And it's about the new start and the kind of the spark of something new. In the hero's journey, red is associated with the first chakra, which is about the power of stability and really embracing the power of practice. Then the orange color is associated with the power of creativity and expression. The color yellow is associated with the third chakra, which is about the power of transformation. Green is connected with the 4th or the heart chakra, which is about the power of love. Then we have sky blue, which is connected with the throat chakra, which is the power of voice, and it's connected to the subtleness of the space element, which is all pervasive. And blue is also all pervasive because the sky is blue, the ocean is blue. It's the color that's actually most pervasive on Earth. And then we go into the 6th chakra, which is between the eyes. It's known as the third eye chakra, and that's typically like a pink color. And then the crown chakra is kind of like a indigo, bluish, purplish color. And then there's also an 8th and a 9th chakra that I introduce people to in my book. The 5th chakra, I should say, is connected to voice. The 6th is connected with intuition. The 7th is connected with the power of truth. And then the 8th and 9th chakras are just above the crown chakra, and they are connected with the powers of rejuvenation and the power of intention. And these are usually like white and then like pink, I would say again, for the 9th chakra. So that's really how I relate to colors.
Thank you. I have never had that lesson. I don't think anybody has ever taken me through the colors. And I love the way you say chakra. You have a special way of pronouncing it that's just lovely. I want to say adorable, but I don't want to offend you. It's just really chakra. I like that. Thank you very much. I do want a copy of your book. I really do. I want to learn all of this. I'm ready. I'm ready for a new rejuvenation. Thank you very much. Lovely. Kenya, I'm looking at your creativity statement number 3. Woohoo. I just ordered a bunch of supplies from Michael, so you'll know why I'm interested in this. Kenya says, my creativity is unleashed whenever I put a paintbrush to canvas. I put on some R&B music. I bring out a blank canvas. I begin to paint these odd yet insightful abstract pieces. I use acrylics. I'm going to stop there. I'm a big paint pour acrylic fan, watercolors, little jewels for eyes. I'll tell you what I do with my AI art sparks. Kenya, I want to know about what you paint. Tell us.
Oh my goodness, Red. I paint everything. And one thing that quote didn't tell you is that I tend to get a little white wine when I go on my escapades, and that makes it just the more nicer. But anyway, I use acrylics, and what I learned years ago, I studied with a lady, Patricia Thompson, who was phenomenal in Santa Monica, California. And she had something called Healing Arts. And I took this class with her, and it was profound because what she taught us is how to basically look at your paintings and figure out how they identify what's going on with you subconsciously. And so we would do these wonderful paintings. We would get in our zone, maybe do a little meditation prior, and we would create these pieces and then sit down and see what symbolic symbols that came out and resonated on the canvas. And it taught me so much. So many times I drew symbols, and I'm a woman that cannot figuratively draw. I've never been able to, draw a sculpture or a car or anything. But when I do paint, they come out quite lovely. My art is beautiful. And with not consciously knowing what I'm painting, I come up with all of these very, very important symbols that look as if I intentionally placed this on the canvas. And that was so like mind blowing to me. And so after that, I just, of course, kept that practice to get things out and to release onto the canvas. And so, I mean, I've learned so much in my healing journey with just using color to express and looking at the symbols and saying, wow, what is this? Or even asking someone, what does this look like to you? It looks like I had one, I'll tell you, for instance, I had one and I used a lot of blues and whites. And I asked someone, what did it look like? And they said, it looks like a handicap symbol. I said, wow, handicap, huh? And I looked at it in a different light, and it did. It actually looked like a symbol of, like, if someone is disabled and needed assistance with a car or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
But what that pointed back to me is that something in me was showing me that I was disabling myself in so many different ways. I dug into that part of it, and was able to peel back those layers to heal that. And I was being self-destructive in a different way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But the handicap symbol came up as clear as day. So those are the kinds of things that when I say I create, along with my writing, of course, because that has been my saving grace. It's healed me, and I've managed to help heal other women as well with my writing. But painting is definitely a source of my creativity.
Kenya, thank you. I started doing acrylic paint pouring a couple of years ago. I was following a woman in, I think, the south coast of Australia. Her name is Jilly. I can't remember her last name. And she never shows her face on her videos. It's on YouTube. She shows just from here down from the workspace and the apron. And I learned all about pouring paints into an egg carton. I like the clear plastic ones, not the styrofoam ones, and layering the paints and then pouring it out onto the canvas, and you tilt the canvas and things appear, Kenya. Not that I drew, things appear. One day I looked at a painting, and you stop tilting when you think you've had enough, and I'll add maybe some glitter and some collage materials, make my own collage papers. And one day, Kenya, there were three elephants marching through a forest, as clear as day. I cannot draw an elephant to save my life. They were in the paint. One day there were birds coming out of a forest. I have no idea how they got there. So I don't know whether by the tilting and the turning and knowing when to stop. You always say that to an artist like a sculptor. How do you know when you're done, right? How do you know when you're done painting or drawing? How do you know when it's finished, right, Kenya? So I found things in my paintings that I didn't put there. One point, right around the end, we thought of COVID, I had one that looked like a Broadway stage with people dancing across the stage. And we were getting the news that we were starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and people were going to start getting back to doing things. And here were dancers on a Broadway stage in this completely abstract poured paint. Kenya, are you shocked and amazed? No, no. I thought so. I also started doing something interesting about a year ago. I use a program, not Midjourney, but Night Cafe Studio. It's free. I have a lot of free credits on it. And I will say, I want a redhead man on a microphone, on a building, whatever, on a street, and it will create some faces for me, some portraits. I take what the JPEG, I save it, and I print it on clear film. Beth, you'll be familiar with this, 8.5 by 11, like the kind we used to put into an AV with slides, I put it on the film, and then I run down. I took the sunroom in this house and I turned it into an art studio. I just knew when I moved in, this would be my office and the other end would be the art studio. And I hold the clear film. It's a acetate, basically. I hold it by the edge so I don't smudge it because the ink is still very wet. And I run down the hall, and I take a piece of 12 by 12 white cardstock, and I take this and I turn it upside down, and then I rub my hand or a roller over the back to transfer the ink onto the cardstock. What I'm left with looks like a very pale tracing. And then I go to work. I have a brush with acrylics and with watercolors. I have glitter glue in bottles. I have little jewels that I put on for eyes. And these become what I call my AI Art Spark portraits. I did about 10 of them, and I brought them to my salon here in Loudoun, and they like them so much. They have a wall with 6 of my people because they all have a lot of hair because it's a salon. So I did them with red hair, with orange hair, with blonde hair, and I did men and I did women. And that's how I created what I call my Art Spark. So it's human on top of an AI. I couldn't draw those faces, Kenya and Beth, and I'm not an artist, but I could text prompt and tell it what I wanted. And then I embellished them and enhanced them and made them my own. So that's been an interesting creative journey for me. I just did one the other day. We're almost out of time, but I have a couple things to read to all of you. Don't go away after, please. I found some interesting words from Kurt Vonnegut. I don't know if you're familiar. He lived from 1922 to 2007. He was an American writer and humorist known for his satirical and darkly humorous novels. He wasn't very prolific, Beth. He only published 14 novels, 3 short story collections, 5 plays, 5 nonfictions over the course of 50 years. Yes, I know. Okay, so here is the quote. You're all going to love this. Go into the arts. I'm not kidding. The arts are not a way to make a living. They are a very human way of making life more bearable. Right, Ananta? Right, Kenya? Right, Beth? Practicing an art, no matter how well or how badly, is a way to make your soul grow, for heaven's sake. Sing in the shower, dance to the radio, tell stories, write a poem to a friend, even a lousy poem. Do it as well as you possibly can. You will get an enormous reward. You will have created something. I came across this quote about 2 weeks ago, and I thought it was just absolutely perfect for this show. Let's see, we have 4 minutes left. So let me go give a couple of things. We have some famous birthdays here. And as I say, don't go away. We're going to talk afterwards. Oh, by the way, Rapunzel, voiced by Mandy Moore in the movie Tangled in 2010, the 3D computer animated film, she said, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. I think we can all agree with that. Today in history, in 1961, Luciano Pavarotti made his opera debut in the role of Rodolfo in La Boheme by Puccini in the Italian town of Reggio Emilia. Let's see, in 1976, Bruce Springsteen had just played a concert in Memphis on his Born to Run tour. You're not going to believe this. He tried to climb over the fence of Elvis Presley's Graceland estate in an effort to see Presley. He was escorted off the premises by guards who informed him the king is not in the building. Seriously, this is in the news. In 1993, on this day, Barry White was a guest star on The Simpsons, where he was MC of Whacking Day. I don't know what that means. Let's see. In 1998, on this day, Steven Tyler of Aerosmith lost control of his microphone stand, which hit him in the leg, tore his ACL, and he had to cancel a bunch of concerts. I didn't know this. In 2022, just 2 years ago, Dolly Parton appears as an angel in the last episode of the TV show I loved, Grace and Frankie, reuniting her friends, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, who were her co-stars in the movie 9 to 5. So she reunited with them. And in 2023, Willie Nelson celebrated his 90th birthday with a concert at the Hollywood Bowl. Guest performers were Norah Jones, the Chicks, Snoop Dogg, and they all did the duet on Roll Me Up and Smoke Me When I Die. Today's birthdays, Willie Nelson's 91. Happy birthday. Jerry Seinfeld is 70. Daniel Day-Lewis is 67. Michelle Pfeiffer, beautiful actress. Batman Returns. Scarface, she was Pacino's wife. She's 66. Uma Thurman, Pulp Fiction and the Kill Bill films, is 54. Some obscure people you may not know. Rock and roll singer Carl Gardner of the Coasters. Remember the Coasters? All kinds. Beth, you might remember. I don't think the other ones. Never mind. Lonnie Donegan. Does your chewing gum hit the flavor? Anyway, he was born in 1931 on this day. April Stevens, who reunited with her brother Nino Tempo. Remember? Okay. She won a Grammy for Deep Purple in 63. She was born on this day. And rock and roll singer Tommy James was born on this day in 47. Duke Ellington was born today in 1899, one of American jazz's most influential figures. He led his famed orchestra from 1923 until his death. He was called Duke because he was very suave and sophisticated, and his friends called him that. And Stevie Wonder dedicated Sir Duke to Duke Ellington in 1976. I have a famous birthday here of somebody you've never heard of. On YouTube. Are you all sitting down? Kenya, you sitting down? You look like it. Okay, Beth, don't get upset, anybody. There's a young man named Sketch who's 26 today. He has 4.9 million subscribers on YouTube, okay? And even better than that, a young man named Chris Daniels is 21 today. He only has 1.5 million fans on TikTok, but he has 110 million likes. Today is the Day of Trees. It's International Dance Day, Peace Rose Day, Shrimp Scampi Day, I'm hungry, National Zipper Day, and Poem in Your Pocket Day. April is a month of straw hats, jazz appreciation, poetry, card and letter writing, dog appreciation, and adopt a ferret and a greyhound. I'll leave it at that. I have to end here, so let's go. In 2014, I had a list of the top 10 tips for women that I close my radio shows with, and I found them. And here was the number one tip. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. We're just going to leave that one. I know that was a long time before the movie. Here we go. I have my closing now. Life is short. Break the rules. I think we all do. Forgive quickly. Nah. Piss slowly. Yes. Love truly. Ladies, join me in a quick laugh. 1, 2, 3. Uncontrollably. 1, 2, 3. Very good. You're good. Laugh uncontrollably and never, ever, ever regret anything that made you smile. Finally, work like you don't need the money because you're the only one who really cares. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco, they all watched. Great legs. Sing like nobody's listening and love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Get over it. Your heart will grow and regenerate and love again. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La. And last but not least, I stole this line from another host years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Radio Red signing off. Ladies, wave goodbye. Don't go anywhere. Jordan, are we out?
All clear. Great show.
Thank you very much.